If you judge people, that is a huge toxic trait, and this is why you need to speak. It is basically your opinion or someone else's opinion pushed onto another person. And if you are easily influenced, you can take other people's opinions and experiences and make it your own judgment, your own opinion. And that's not fair to that person. I'm going to tell you this story. I think I maybe told one or two people this story. I don't know why I kept it. It's none of my business. Whatever. Anyways, I worked for a company years ago and I did payroll. And as you know, with business comes and goes with expenses and income, yada, yada, yada. Anyways, I was doing payroll, and just the way the week was lining up, the income, there was a deposit supposed to be coming and it was delayed. So the deposit wasn't coming in on time and it was late. So we wouldn't have enough for payroll. And my boss was out of country on a holiday with their spouse. And I messaged them saying, what the fuck do? I don't have money for payroll. And I crunched the numbers and I figured out if I withheld my paycheck and the spouse's paycheck, we could push through payroll and everybody else could get paid on that specific day. I think it was on a Friday. And they said, no, don't do that because that's not fair to you. And I'm like, well, I'm willing to do that because whatever, I know the money's there eventually. So I'm not worried about it. And they said, no, let's not do that. So then there was a message that went out to the entire team saying, hey, just so you know, payroll's going to be late this time because of the statutory holiday. Yeah. So I was walking past the lunchroom and I heard coworkers of mine bitching and complaining, talking shit about me because I fucked up payroll and they weren't getting paid on time. And how are they going to pay their mortgages and yada, yada, yada? How are they going to make that all happen? Because I fucked up. Little did they know, I was willing to forfeit my own paycheck so they could get paid. But I was the bad person and I screwed up. They had no idea what the actual truth was, but they placed judgment on me because of their own ideas and stories that they made up in their heads. Nobody actually knows the truth, but now they do. They know the now if they're watching this. So that is why it is so important to never place judgment. You don't know the truth. You don't understand. So until you have the actual facts, and that is why communication is so fucking important in any dynamic, in a relationship, work, whatever, you have to communicate, because if you don't, there's a misunderstanding, there's a judgment placed, resentment can be held, all of the things. And that's why things explode and not work out properly. So placing judgment on someone is not great. Another story that happened to me, I met this new person, wanted to hang out. I was warned. They said, you're going to get stung, yada, yada, yada. I'm like, that is your experience. Maybe that person's changed. Maybe they've learned from their mistakes. You don't know that. And I'm not going to place my judgment based on what happened to you. Well, it did happen to me. However, I was very direct with that person. And I said, look, these are my boundaries. These are my standards. And if you don't respect that, then we can't be doing this. And it happened again. And I said, bye-bye. Like, I know my standards. I know my worth. And this is what I'm doing. So let go of judgment. It is the worst toxic trait you can have. And you don't like it when other people judge you. You don't like being misunderstood. So the first place to start is by not judging other people.